G'day, welcome back to Project Brupeg, the story of a sunken fishing trawler converting into a global expedition and research boat. Last week, a simple sanding job turned into a 3-day nightmare. Was kind of a blast though. Floor came up pretty good as a result of it. We shoveled 3 tonne of sand into the skip, that got taken away, and the locals decided, I'm going to build a barge with a room with a view. I think the plan is to tow it out to one of the coral atolls that's about 40 miles off the coast. People can stay on the boat as well as dive and snorkel from it, and if they don't want to get wet they can just go down into the glass bottom and have a look at the coral right where they're anchored.
It's pretty cool. I think they're dropping it in the water tomorrow, and I'm thinking something like that on Brupeg would be awesome, but I don't think Dame will agree to the build.
And this bloody awesome apron arrived in the mail from Russ and Vicky Seth. Vicky got to making it after I said something that I didn't really think would turn into a catchphrase.
We got some jobs crossed off the list. There's some prep work we need to do before we get on to the plinths.
This morning's job in the studio. We've got the MIG welder out. We're going to be filling up this hole. Daylight is not supposed to be there. So the plan, basically it's rusted through from the outside for some reason, don't know why, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to fill this gap here up with wire, with MIG weld, and then on the other side, it's already got a weld sort of from here to there. We're just going to do a big blast over top just to make sure that there's sort of no possible air gaps, etc. And the reason we're doing it on the inside like this is so that when I do weld the outside, which will come soon, I need to sandblast it first. I don't want any rubbish firing off into this room, so we're going to fill it up from this side because it's nice and easy to do it that way. So pretty bulbous weld, but it's going to seal it up so that we can blast and weld it from the other side without any drama on the inside. I hate doing vertical up welding, so I never really get a great weld when I'm doing vertical up, but it doesn't really matter, it only has to seal a hole in this case. So it's about 8:30 in the morning. We're going to try and get a coat of paint on this floor today, so first etch. We're going to go through and wire brush it. A couple of people have asked why don't we use a wire wheel on a grinder, and that's mainly because the phosphoric acid when it sets is still relatively soft. If we use the wire wheel we'd probably end up taking it back down to metal, and we don't want that. We want to leave as much as we can on it. We just want to get rid of all the crystalline stuff off the top, and the wire brush by hand does a pretty good job, just a bit more elbow grease. It's not a huge area, so it's not the end of the world to have to do it by hand, so yeah, we can just crack on and get it done probably in about, I don't know, half an hour, something like that, to get this floor done. Doesn't take long to lay the paint down on this room again because it's not a huge area. It's probably 10 minutes and this floor will be painted. Once we've got this floor basically drying, we're going to move on into the galley and we'll start getting our stainless hidden vent, dorade vent into the wall. So something to look forward to.
I think you're right, Patricia. I think if we start working in this room any more than just sand going past the floor, we're going to rip up this lovely new paint, so we're putting carpet down. And Donald, thanks for the suggestion. We were thinking about it, but you talking about it just kind of cemented it in our minds. We're going to double up, triple up on the paint in the walking areas, down the hallway and in the middle of the room. So we'll do a couple of extra layers, then we'll do another layer on top everywhere and kind of even flatten the paint out. And for everyone, we'll show you next week, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, we'll show you what the floor is, the carpet or the thing we're using for the...
Gee, that gives it away.
For the galley. It's carpet, but not carpet in the usual sense.
This morning's job.
Did you say job?
Yeah, just one.
Are you alright?
Yeah, so this morning's job, this stonking great stainless bench has to come off the roof. We're going to be fitting a vent over into this corner of the galley. So we need to drop the bench down onto the ground. And we have some safety carpet here that we're going to lay out and sit it on.
As you can tell, we're feeling a little relieved that that room is blasted. We're on to rust killing tonight, and then another coat tomorrow, then on to painting, so good. But what this part of the job is all about is all the little jobs that we need to do in preparation for getting the plinths built and the cabinets and the benches in. So like Damien's saying, we're doing some things, but you know, things like I've got to paint this while it's down, like it's going to go on the floor, and I'll paint that. That'll seal the wood. You've said the vent. You need a resandblast.
No,
You're just going to weld, just weld that.
Yep.
Yeah. This thing here, that's going to come out because that's where the air goes in or comes out. That's downstairs. That's the accommodations downstairs. That's the portside cabin vent. Dan will show you how we did the fans on the other side. You used computer fans, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 in a row. They work great.
Yeah.
They don't last forever, but you know they're pretty cheap. I think $3 each or something.
Yeah, we have quad redundancy, so when they kill themselves,
yeah, there's
they don't
4
all die at once.
Yeah. So if one goes, it's okay. And we've got to do the wall behind this wall here. We've always known that the air conditioner needed new piping. That got put in, and it just wasn't adequate. We need to insulate it better, and we need to put better piping in. It worked enough to cool the boat down, so on the bottom of our list of priorities.
Yeah.
So, but we're at that stage because we've got to get the insulation on this wall and get the stainless panel up on here. That's the big one. That's going to be really fun manoeuvring that. And you've got to put the Rivnuts in the ribs, right?
Yeah. We
So
do.
each rib. But wait, there's more. Got to paint the bloody wall first, so we'll do that. So that'll probably be my job. So painting, pull this down, and then you're on to building the
Vent.
So exciting. Second vent. So there's 3 vents in the downstairs cabins now. This is the 4th vent. That makes it in and out complete. So we're done with that. So we can start putting those rooms fully together and get them really usable. Because we're thinking about volunteers coming on board soon. Exciting. So we thought we might try that, but we'll give you notice, we'll let you know. So we'll see you soon. Damien's been reading a book on Shackleton's expedition to the South Pole in polar preparations.
Yeah.
There's a line that he keeps talking about over and over again, and it's really cool. We're going to put something on the wall because it's so cool. What is it, Dame?
It's how he chooses his expedition crew, and it's that he looks for an unending optimism. So yeah.
In the face of whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they're facing, so long as the person's optimistic, they'll pretty much figure a way out of it.
It's so nice.
Coming from a dude that survived probably the most unsurvivable scenario, it's like, oh yeah, this has been tested.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I'm just going to take this one off, and then we should be able to like lower it down.
Carpet's not underneath.
Oh fuck, carpet.
I'll just stay here.
Yeah. I'll put the wide bit of carpet and the narrow bit of the roof. Right, are you ready? Just make sure you got no piping and stuff.
It's just against the wall. I think it's going to get trapped on this thing here. We have to pull it out.
What is it? Yeah, I've got to watch this.
Actually, it's stuck on here. Can we swing that way? Because it's stuck on this, and then it's going to get jammed on that.
I'll pull it. Tell me how far.
Yeah, that's great.
Sit down.
I love you. I give you everything you want me to.
So people may remember our hidden dorade vent. So that is created a couple of hundred episodes ago, so that we could get it ready in preparation to weld into this area here. It's pretty straightforward. We just need to decide how high we're mounting it, draw the outline shape of the stainless onto the wall, and then cut around it and TIG it in. Now we're going to use TIG rather than MIG to blast this in because we're in a freshly painted room. MIG does like to throw a bit of wire around, a bit of hot molten metal, whereas TIG's a much cleaner process.
I'm just taking some silica off the back here. When we slapped some paint on here just to get the bench in, we didn't do a proper job, so I'm just doing that now. It's not a big deal, just taking some silica off. It looks like it's just got glued to the wall where it came from. It was out of a commercial kitchen, second handy. Or as medicine would say, upcycling? Is that what you say?
If I
chipping. A chip off the old block, if you will.
Got it.
Right, because we've got an accurate plasma cutter these days, we're going to plasma the whole thing out. Now, normally I wouldn't, because plasma does throw a few sparks around, painted floor, all that sort of stuff, not compatible. However, behind this curtain thingy I've made, we've got a piece of plywood, and it's basically clamped, sticking out that way, so that any sparks and crap that go out the side of the boat hit the plywood and run down and out over the side. They don't sort of land on the boat. It will throw the sparks, probably a metre or so out the side anyway, so it's going to be fairly clear. But because this plasma is pretty damn accurate, I can just go through and just take my time and get a nice edge. And given that it's just air on the steel, there'll be a little bit of oxidation on the surface, but not enough that I can't weld to it, so I can pretty much just get straight in and be good to go. So yeah, it's 41 degrees right now in the wheelhouse, so it's perfect time to start putting on some canvas safety gear.
Brupeg had a baby.
Righto, the vent. This is the front face of the vent, and we need this to be flush with the outside of the cabin on Brupeg. This is made out of 3mm stainless. The cabin's made out of 5 or 6, depending on where you're looking at. So there's obviously a discrepancy in size that we have to take into account. Now the outside is what matters, that's what you see. The inside doesn't matter, so we can have a dimple going down and fill that up with weld. Now in order to get the outside being perfectly flush, cut a whole bunch of these little stainless strips. I'm just going to weld them on like that, and then if we pull this in tight against the outside of the hull, it's going to be perfectly flush with the 6mm. So let's get into it. What we need a handle.
Yeah, you want a hand, Dave?
No, I'm good. That's not true. Can I get you to push it from the outside so that it stays flush? You'll need gloves. There's some red welding gloves on the rear deck. The front bottom.
Okay, you want me to push it?
Yeah, I just need, can you tell me, are all 4 hard up against the boat? The cabin?
Yeah, perfect. I wouldn't do much more than that.
Okay, I'm going to do the top front, just to hold it as a tack.
Okay, yep, go.
Okay, it's on there firm now, it's not going to fall.
It's like flush.
Cool. See, the trouble with this weld is that my head's smacking into the roof, so I can't physically see it, so I'm trying to cock my head off to the side so that I can take up less vertical height, see the weld, but at the same time I have to fill a gap that's maybe 5 mil, something like that. Don't know what that is in 1/4 inch roughly, something like that. So it's really awkward. I think we're going to get that one from the outside. The challenge that we're having is trying to get that top weld. It's a piece of cake to get to it from the outside, but there's way too much wind. There's not a lot of wind, probably 10, 15 kilometers, 6, 8 knots, something like that. But it's enough to funnel up the side of the boat and blow all of the argon away, so not basically able to do any welding out there at the minute. TIG's particularly finicky when it comes to wind. I haven't quite managed flux core TIG yet. However, the rest of the vent is welded in from the inside. So what we're going to do first thing in the morning, we're going to get up nice and early and we're going to weld that top, but we'll also run a bead right the way around the outside and make it really tidy and pretty on the outside as well. So all up, it's come up really good. There were some incredibly awkward welds, but yeah, we got them done and that vent is just about in.
One thing's true, never ask for nothing more than you. Think about it. If I could, I would be the perfect deja vu. Stars and sun all separated, rainbow colors newly faded. I put it all in a paper bag for you. Have a nice day. All the gods and all the angels got them waiting at your table. Was giving you my heart was not enough.
stop recording. GoPro, stop recording.
And my hand is fine. Thank you for everyone who mentioned it. It's okay. It's healed really well, and I'm going to do the best I can to not jam it in any other things, particularly metal things.
And there's a 7-day moratorium on her getting into any punch-ups or bar fights.